gonna keep on our timing a little bit better. There we are. We're here. We're live. Welcome to yet another stream session from your friends at Graphite Lab. I'm Matt Raithel. I'm studio director, and I had the pleasure of being the executive producer on this little gem we'll be talking about today called Mr. Run and Jump. With me is Mr. Run and Jump himself, John Mikula. John, say hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Mikula. I'm a game director on Mr. Run and Jump.
And we will be joined shortly by some friends at Atari who at the moment are cursing their audio setups and their video cameras as they are attempting to get into the stream. So they will be joining us here momentarily. The theme for today's episode is really chatting more about the partnership that we've got with Atari to have Mr. Run and Jump published on not just modern platforms, but it was announced earlier this week that Mr. Run and Jump is going to get a 2600 version release, which is super exciting. How does that feel, John? Like having that project that, I mean, just today we saw a tweet of you from 2016 talking about that project, and then now we've got, it's like on like USA Today, website and Engadget's talking about it and all these places. How, this is a cheesy question, I know, but like, how does it feel? Like, is it good? Do you regret everything? How does it feel? You want to rewind the clock?
No, I mean, it's frankly, it's about time. It's about time I was shown the respect I deserve, and Run and Jump is going to take its place rightfully at the pinnacle of contemporary game development. No, I mean, yeah, but truly, it's been a long time coming. I mean, how's it going, Jason?
Test audio 1 2.
Uh-oh, muted.
This is an easy one to solve. We just got to find that pesky mute button.
And he's black and white.
He is coming in momentarily. All right.
Oh, I see.
Jason's here. Jason's coming in.
Hey.
There he is.
I'm here. I don't know how good my audio is. I was messing around with this whole thing. If I was home, I would have my actual setup. I don't. I'm not. Hopefully I don't sound like bad stuff. Bad word here.
You sound just fine.
Right.
Sound good to me.
At least to me. I'm pretty easy to please. Now, John, on the other hand, he may think that you sound terrible. I can't speak for him.
Well, I'm here.
Cheers.
Happy to be here. What's up, fellas?
You sound very convincing that you're happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here. I hate running, but I love running when paired with jumping in the form, especially when there is a, whatever that's called, where you put a Mr. before it.
That's right.
Then I'm ready to talk about it.
It's like that scene in Ratatouille where you got to pair the strawberry with the cheese. Then it's something magical indeed.
Yeah, John, what is your opinion on running in a vacuum? Like, if you just had to, do you have a strong opinion about running?
About running?
Yeah, like the act of running. And while we're at it, let's talk about knee damage.
I'm broadly in favor of running, though maybe I'm more of a jogging kind of guy personally. I got into running like maybe a couple years ago, and I haven't done it for a little while. I gained a bunch of weight, and I kind of slowed down quite a bit. But I should get back into it and try and lose that weight. But
running's bad. Running's not fun. It's a problem. That's the problem, right?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
No, I said, but that's the problem. Running's not fun, and that's the problem.
I kind of found it. I found it like meditative. I found it something. It helped me like clear my brain a little bit. So I actually kind of really liked it. Was
Oh,
it
yeah?
fun? Like,
You liked it so much that you stopped.
Well, I mean,
You're like, I love this. It's meditative, but you know what? I don't have the time. I got to prioritize stuff like sitting on a couch and watching TV and playing games.
Well, it probably was we were getting into Mr. Run and Jump, so I didn't quite have the time that I used to.
Oh, so it's my fault. It's my fault. You don't do the thing that you like to do.
Look, I'm not going to point fingers, but
Nothing like an amazing independent development opportunity to change your your priorities.
But I'm just saying, I still play hockey. I play hockey like multiple times a week. People fall out of running. I've been playing hockey straight for my whole life. Doesn't get tired. I just take that hour and a half. I skate and I'm in. People running around the block. It's only so many times you could pass those same houses. I'm just saying. Or run on that treadmill.
Hear me out. Same universe.
I'm slandering running.
New universe. Mr. Skate and Fight. On the ice, side-scrolling beat 'em up, but hockey, you beat people up. But wait, before we get into that, Jason, why don't you introduce yourself? Let our fine fans know who you are. Say hello. What are you doing here? Why are you here? And so on and so forth.
That's a lot of questions. I don't know why I'm here, but I am a producer at Atari, and I'm here because I was asked to be. and I love Mr. Run and Jump, and I say that like unabashedly. I'm not the lead producer on this game. I'm more like a witness, and I show up and support with pom poms on. I unfortunately left those all the way over there, so I can't get them. But I am a producer here at Atari. I work on a whole lot of games. The Recharge series, for example, the recently launched Pixel Rip 1978, the recently announced Days of Doom, and many other titles. And we have been working together for so long. It feels like 30 years. It's probably been more like 30 months. But I was there to launch Combinera with you guys, another amazing game. And I've been with you guys the whole way playing Mr. Run and Jump. So that's who I am, and that's what I care about.
I see LPK 425 is in the chat. Welcome. It's good to have new fans in the chat.
He's so formal. He said hello to your full name.
Well, what am I gonna do? Say hello to LPK? LPK 425.
No, he wrote hi, Matt Raithel.
This guy must know me. I don't know. It's possible. All right, so Jason, spending time with us, working on Combinera, working on Mr. Run and Jump. How's this whole thing start? Like, from our point of view, we've told the story of how Run and Jump got going, but like from Atari's point of view, like why this game? Obviously, when we make one that's like inspired by a 2600, but why this one?
Oh man, why this one? Whew. Well, a lot of this stuff goes through the greenlight process, right? So no individual game is made by one individual person. I suppose there are various exceptions to that, but in most scenarios, it's all done by the group. So it goes through various phases of review, and then we decide ultimately what's a fit for Atari. And Run and Jump, I mean, one of the things that helped was that existence of the 2600 version. I mean, it was great. But when we decide to do like an original ITP specifically, it's got to fit in a certain, it has to hit certain qualifications. And one of those is that, easy pickup and play, difficult to master, something that's encompassing of like a classic Atari experience. So one of the things that Wade asks, that's our CEO, he'll say like, could this be an Atari game back in the day? And in the case of Run and Jump, it was easy because the answer was, well, not only could it be, but it straight up is. So that just made the decision all the easier for this one. And there's a few other things that go into it. Somebody could have the best idea ever and it makes sense for an Atari game, but you have to make sure that developer actually has the stuff to execute it. And you guys got the stuff. We just came off of Combinera, which was really well received critically. And we were super jazzed to do some more work with you guys. So there's other things we can't talk about, but the partnership has been quite good, at least from our perspective. I don't know, maybe you guys think differently, but yeah, that's ultimately a lot of the things that go into making that decision.
Sweet. Awesome. Welcome to Johnny No Star. First time in chat. Happy to have you here. Load us up with questions if you have questions. Johnny, we're joined by Jason from Atari, producer on Mr. Run and Jump, and lots of other Atari titles, including just recently launched Pixel Ripped. That's the first Atari VR title, is it not? Or have there been other dabbles in VR for Atari?
Oh man, let's call it the first one.
Okay. That's your call to make, and not mine.
It's not. I probably shouldn't say that, but I did. So there you are. But it's really cool. I mean, that one just came out. We're really excited about it. It's the third in the Pixel series, the first one we published, and I've been I'm like super proud with the way that game's turned out. The development team's been amazing there as well, and it's just been a good experience. If you have a VR headset, then check that out. It's an interesting way to to experience the like alternate history for Atari. Actually, Ethan often describes that game. So Atari 50, which we launched last year, he describes that as nonfiction, and then this is like fiction, is like historical fiction.
I gotcha. Is it much different launching a VR game versus the console titles or the mobile stuff that we've been working on together for a while?
Sort of, kind of. The thing that you have to do with VR that you don't have to do with the others is account for comfort when playing a VR game. So there's often, when you're submitting something for review with with Meta, the Quest, there's only one review process. But with Sony, for example, there's two review processes. One is a VR check, and the other is a traditional check that you have. So it has to go through two separate processes, and they look at those things like, is it too intense for users? Do certain things not work that are expected to that you wouldn't normally account for in a quote unquote 2D game versus a VR game?
Is this along the lines of like checking, like in a traditional game, we're checking for like flashes as an example? Like, are there equivalent things that are in the cert for those platforms that you just got to be really careful about, like specific things, or is it like just a general list of comfort checks?
It's a general list. I guess it could change game to game. Like if you have a lot of really fast movement, right, then that might be too fast to the point where it could just make everybody throw up.
Got it.
Like that kind of thing. There's also some checks that you kind of get away with. Like for example, one of the things that they brought up, just a little inside baseball, is that we in the first screen of the game, you don't see your hands. Like you're just at a main menu and you press a button to get started, right? Now, most of the time in VR, you could look at your hands and you see the controllers or something else. But in this case, you don't. It's not. It was just a decision that was made by the team, and they flagged that like, oh, you don't see your hands. You should be able to see your hands. We're like, well, you can't. And they were like, all right. So that was just like an example of a check that they do, which you don't often think about in a 2D game because who cares whether you see your hands?
Do you remember, Jason? This was a while ago, but I remember, and I don't remember where we were in Run and Jump development, but we had like a meeting, and maybe it was after like the vertical slice, and you had pitched like, what about Run and Jump VR? And I remember you pointed at the Violet world, and you're like, look at all these petals and look at those clouds. Wouldn't it be amazing if you were there?
I might have said that, yeah.
We wound up not going that direction, but I appreciated
as much as you guys like fun, I don't know if you love fun. And that's I think I said that just because like it might have been around the time that we started the other VR, the other working with Arbery on Pixel Rift, and I have this weird desire for VR where it's like I like a lot of VR experiences. Like I play quite a bit of VR. I own a Quest 2. I bought that day one. I bought the Quest 1 day one. I had like the Google VR stuff that they did for the Pixel, and yeah, there is definitely something there. But sometimes you just want to play like a traditional game, and that additional immersion could help, right? So I understand the issue with the 2D platform, right? But I think the reason I said is because, like, yeah, you have all this movement and this depth that's really cool in the background. And I was like, man, if this video all comes to me, I could just see the edges and that kind of stuff. Now, based on the game design, the room-to-room nature, yeah, it was probably a dumb idea. But, you know, I guess personally, I have that desire for a more traditional game in a VR experience. One that I could sit on the couch and play without having to worry about like spinning my head around, waving my hands, that kind of stuff. Now that stuff's great. I mean, look, we put out Pixel Rift, that's part of it. But one of the coolest things about Pixel Rift is that you can play it like the first-person shooter parts and the 2D platforming parts. It's like I'm just kind of sitting there doing my thing and playing the game. It's fun. It's like a good 2D platformer. It's a good first-person shooter experience, and yeah, it feels more like a mashup of traditional game with some VR elements sprinkled out. But you know, I play some of these games. I'm like, man, it'd be cool if I could just have my character in the center. I'm playing like this game, like third-person game or 2D platformer, but I don't have any edges of the world, and that's cool as an idea.
I'm with you for sure. I think because I'm not. I've dabbled in VR. I've played some stuff. I'm not super into it all the time, but I do. I did play through like Astrobot all the way through on like the PlayStation VR, and I love that.
Like
game.
that.
That was wonderful. And I'm like, I really, wish VR would embrace some more of like just more of those like, like a traditional game experience that, like, you know, obviously there's parts of that game where you're like looking around and like following your character as like they move around like the 3D platformer level, but otherwise like it is a pretty, you know, kind of linear 3D platformer, and it's like, you know, but you're still getting like the sense of scale of VR, and you're still getting that like total immersion that is really impressive about a game like that. But I could totally see with something like I imagine like a run and jump VR would almost kind of be my image is almost like Tetris Effect, where it's like you have like your Tetris in front of you, and then you're just like, you know, there's the clouds and the pedals and all the digital sky effect above you, and you can kind of look around and you can look, you know, down this way, and I think what would be really cool is like you just see like the level in front of you, and even if it's just like a 2D plane, you know, that you just see like stretched, like there's something cool even about that just experience, right? To just be able to look down and be like, oh, there's the rest of the level, and it's like, oh geez, it goes up like that, you know. I don't know, there's something just kind of interesting about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that exploration of what VR can do beyond, and it's young, right? Like the whole ecosystem has existed for maybe, I'm trying to think, when did I first play VR? Like when did the Oculus, the Rift first come out? That first one, that was probably around 2012, I guess, is when that Kickstarter was about. I'm trying to think when I was at that.
2012.
When I was at that. Yeah, like I nailed that. Like CES, playing that thing and trying out Eve Valkyrie. I was like, this is awesome. This is the coolest thing ever, because I went from a crowded CES floor space to all of a sudden I was in space, and it was like none of that existed, and it was a crazy experience, and it was awesome. So I think as the ecosystem matures, as the platform emerges, like I kind of made this point to somebody yesterday, which is like, how long did it take for consoles to actually really determine what that first-person control scheme is? Like, there was a lot of first-person shooters before Halo came out on Xbox, and yet it took until then to be like, no, this is how a game like this should control here. And even then, there was always these refinements along the way. But the fact that couldn't really be figured out by then, you're like, okay, well, eventually we'll get there. Eventually we'll get to that point where you broaden the horizons of what's actually possible and what is the best experiences are in RVR. And there's already some great ones, and some people are figuring it out, but it's still a very young medium, so it's quite exciting place to be.
For sure. I was playing is it Blade and Sorcery? It's like a first person kind of adventure sword fighting kind of RPG VR game, and but it gives you just like basic like free reigns, like you just move wherever, do whatever, like you're not like snapping, or the screen's not fading to black and fading in. And man, I could go like 20 minutes before I had to like rip that thing off and go lie down because it was making me seasick.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, is those VR legs are very real.
Yeah. Jason, I'm looking at you. I'm just not realizing you've got run and jump background.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
I don't notice much, if you can tell.
I'm trying to represent. Also, it's what all the cool kids are doing.
It's the way.
And if there's one thing that you know about me, is that like I'm the cool guy. So obviously, I gotta keep up my reputation. And if I didn't have this, I'd kind of lose that street cred, as it were. So I'm just I just gotta keep that up.
I appreciate it. That crush from over your shoulder is looking pretty good.
Yeah. It's a good one. I identify with him, spiritually. I'm always like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
You're always crushing things.
Crushing things.
Always crushing things.
That's what I hear about you, is you're always crushing things.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Don't talk to those guys. They don't know.
You know who's not crushing it? Me in this speedrun time. They are not.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I haven't been paying attention. What are you? What are your
watching
times?
it? I thought he was playing a looping video.
No, haha. Very funny. This is a video. This looping video is called Failure by Matt Raithel. No, I'm trying to get my dives down, because the dives are where it's at, and I've got a time to beat that's sub 55 seconds. That's what I'm trying to do here today.
Oh my god! Well, you're not going to get there doing things like that.
Yeah, I know.
That you just did. But here, Jason. So when you're talking about the, I guess, Atari greenlight process.
Yeah.
So I was wondering like what that looks like, because on the outside, what I'm imagining is like everyone, I imagine you get a pitch you like, you send it to your boss, and they send it to their boss. And then whenever a week later, everyone dons like their robes and puts their hoods up, and the council assembles, and it's like someone paints like the rituals with like, rat blood or whatever. And then everyone comes together, and after a few like chants and prayers, like, I don't know, is it a vote? Is it a discussion? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, as far as the rat blood goes, that's just, it is a misconception that like the water in New York City is like part of rat blood. So maybe that's where you kind of misconstrued that fact. It's a little different. All right. It's not all rat blood, it's only part rat blood. So when you're talking about rat blood, we're just drinking tap water. It's not literally rat blood, okay? That's just what I don't like people besmirching New York water. It's delicious, all right? And you're all just jealous, okay?
I hear that's what makes the pizza so good, so...
Now the robes...
I apologize if I'm misconstruing or misrepresenting your water.
As far as the robes go, no, we're not. I'm a robes guy. Like, I like a good robe, but I keep that. I can't. There's something weird. I get self-conscious about wearing a robe around other people, so I don't do that. And therefore, there's like a no robe rule. Now, what we do, however, is that we all do gather in the. We talk about it. Yeah, it's not. The thing about Atari is like we're not huge. And I think a lot of people are surprised when I say that. Like, as a company, we're not a lot of people. So the quote unquote council of people. I think you said the word council in that whole description there. The council of people is not that many people, but we do all discuss it. Like one person gets it, they throw it in front of the group, like, hey, this is an interesting idea. Let's talk about it. And it doesn't even have to be, you said the person has to like it. Like that person doesn't even have to really like it. They can just like, hey, here's an idea. What do you guys think? Right? Because somebody could get a proposal for a thing that might not actually be in their specific wheelhouse, right? Like, you know, if a genre comes in that I'm not privy to, right? Like, let's say hypothetically, like let's throw something crazy that hasn't happened, right? But let's say like a flight simulation game came in. Someone's like, oh, I want to make a flight sim. I'd be like, yeah, I don't think I'm the guy who could actually give some valid feedback here, but somebody just threw me a flight simulation game, and maybe the rest of the people in this room who have an impact on decisions actually have an opinion on this flight simulation game, you know? But otherwise, like, Mr. Run and Jump started, it actually was sent to me. Actually, what's more interesting is talking about Combinera, right? Because Combinera, Matt, you sent that to me, and then I played it, and then I immediately sent it to Mark, and I was like, "You got to play this. This is pretty damn cool." And then we were off to the races, right? And that was partly, and that way you had like two people, so you might partly try to strategize and be like, "Yeah, all right, I got this idea. I really like it. I need to like kind of check myself, and in the process, maybe bring an ally into that room so I have like two people who are going to help me push this game." Because you can, you know, at the end of the day, things also get the final thumbs up. You know, Wade gets his Caesar moment, like his thumbs up, thumbs down type thing, and that's ultimately where it all ends. Like we could go for it, we could do that, and then we have to pull it. But we also have the ability, I mean, it's also kind of like a Congress situation, right? Where the great thing about Wade is he opens himself up to be challenged. So if I put myself, say that like flight simulation example, right? If he's in a position where he's not too big of a fan of a genre, but the rest of the group is like, yeah, we really like this idea, we want to do it, let's do it. Then he'd be like, okay, well then I'll go to your discretion if it's got like unanimous approval against that judgment. So it's an interesting process. And by the way, no two games get approved in the same manner. Things could change. A trend could change. We could play a thing that could put us in a different mindset that could be like, oh man, this was great. And as a result, we should revisit that other thing because there's actually some potential here based on the thing that I played before. You know, not that we're saying like, yeah, we got to do the thing that they did, right? Like, but just saying, like, things change on a moment-to-moment basis, and industry moves so fast, trends move so fast, and things just evolve over time. So what was potentially approved or what people liked one day, they might not like, 2 months later, and vice versa.
Gotcha.
We got we got Ethan jumping in, but before we get there, Johnny No Star. I got a button to jump and double jump. I have a button to crouch, and I have a button to dash. Otherwise, simple joystick controls get the job done. So it's pretty simple. Glass cleaner, yeah, so close. That's on my tombstone for sure. Yeah, I'm doing my best. But,
your tombstone should say, "I made it."
Made it? Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna say I give up. Ethan, welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, sorry I'm late, man.
No problemo.
Trying to get these games done.
You've missed all the bad runs. Now from now on, I'll just be hitting platinum times for you. So.
Well, I'm not playing, so I have nothing to complain about, right? I mean, until I'm on the sticks, I'm not allowed to complain.
Fair.
Ethan,
like
what's your opinion on running?
Like running in games, or like running like out in the world?
Like in the world.
This sounds so stupid, but like I have arthritis and my knees suck, and so I have a hard time running. But I generally like I really like going on walks and stuff. I live really close to the mountains here, so I go on hikes and things all the time. I used to love running down the hill. I don't know. I like running.
Yeah, John's blaming you for the reason why he can't run anymore.
Me?
Making this game.
I'm not
Yeah,
blaming.
you specifically.
Okay, well, I mean, if I have to
listen
be your
to him, Ethan.
scapegoat, then I'll take it, man.
He's
He
pulling
said
the
he loves
chain.
it, but he just doesn't have the time because he's making this game.
Oh, I see. I think that's more of a Perloff problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
got
you
it.
know, it
He's
really
not
is
here,
smart.
so we'll blame him.
He's not here. I can throw him under the bus.
That's right.
Mark Perloff is the producer on the Atari side. Who's been working with Graphite and on the project.
So Ethan, we were talking about like the green light process. We were talking about like how a game like Run and Jump kind of worms its way through the Atari systems and then, comes out, as a full product at the end, or even like an approved product, like, and then development starts. But I'm kind of wondering, like, when was the first time you saw Mr. Run and Jump, and what were your thoughts of it initially?
Well, I wasn't part of greenlight process on this game because it was already well into production when I showed up. And if it hasn't already been said, we actually have a lot of games going on right now. The new Atari, we're trying to put a lot of cool games out into the market, and so to be honest, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Like this was the one that I was probably most excited for. Just because I'm such a platformer nerd, I play for fun. Like I almost like I didn't know this, but now when I look back at all the games that I play, almost all the games I play are platformers or first-person shooters. And so like Celeste was one of my favorite games of the last decade, and I watch and play Mario Maker like all the time, and Meat Boy and VVV, and trying to think of other big platforms like Ori and the Blind Forest, and so I love all these games, and it was something that I could immediately pick up and play and love. So I will say that like in the greenlight process or early process of when we're like assessing new games, sometimes it can be very difficult to see like the forest through the trees, because the early builds of a game are always have a lot of caveats. They don't, okay, this is the way it's going to look, but it doesn't really play like this, or this is how it's going to play, but it's not going to look like this, and this is a little piece of it, but ignore the problems over here, and it can be difficult to really like see what the final game experience is going to be. And I think very early on this game was, from what I remember when I first saw it, just immediately made sense and played very well. Like there was a lot of, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of conversations early on about your momentum and like the long jump and generally how fast you were running, and these were all these little like knobs we were tweaking to make the thing feel really great, but it was already kind of there as a platforming game. Like the visual style you guys were going for, and the type of platforming games we were referencing, the experience you were trying to create was really clear, and it really just came down to like how are we fine tuning some of these things to make it just feel the best it could feel.
Yeah, for sure. This was one of the first games where we even did just like kind of like a sandbox room just to test some of that stuff. Little gray boxes and squares, and then just quickly started dropping visuals on top of it. But yeah, it was great to have that support and patience throughout the first milestone or two, just to get this stuff feeling good, even if it was just a gray box and a gray square bopping around.
Yeah, I think that stuff is so important.
Yeah, I think for a game this kinetic, that's kind of the thing. If like, if it's fun as like, here's a gray cube and it's jumping around doing whatever, then like it's only going to get better like when you add the visual flares on top of it. But if it's not fun in like gray cube stage, like you're off to a bad start.
I often refer to like, I call it like the Tony Hawk element of a game, where Tony Hawk was a game that early on for me, at least I'm a big skateboard nerd. I got skateboards behind me up on the wall, but that game was fun to play, even if you weren't playing the game. Like just rolling around and jumping around and stuff in that game. Like you could hand someone the controller and they would play that game. They weren't collecting, whatever it was, skate tapes or spelling out skate or whatever, or doing any missions. Or you could play. I mean, there's games like that just have such a solid sandbox of like an initial gameplay experience. But to your point, like that's you have something. You can build from there and make the game better. It's not always easy the other way around, where if it's like this isn't totally fun, but once we add some missions and some other things, it'll feel great. But yeah, I totally agree.
Definitely. Yeah, that's been something I think about kind of as a designer a lot, is like a game as a toy first, and then you can kind of layer the game on top of it, right? Where you think of like the game as like the rules and boundaries and systems that kind of direct play, but then yeah, totally, like what you were saying about Tony Hawk, I think about like Mario Odyssey and how fun it is to just be like in Metro Kingdom in New Donk City and just rolling around, diving off buildings, like bouncing on things, like, and even if you're not doing anything, just the act, the kinetics of being Mario is so fun, and that's kind of the base you want. And then from there, it's like, it is like, okay, like here's a ball, like dribbling a ball is a pretty fun thing to do. And then, okay, now try and throw it in this hoop, like, and then that's where the game comes in, but
It's a totally different game. But like, I remember Grand Theft Auto 3, when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, this is going to age me very specifically, but I was in college, and I remember going over to dorm rooms, and people would just they would just get in the car and drive around, and eventually the police start chasing them, and then they get caught by the police, and then it was like, oh, that's the end of my run, and they'd hand the controller to somebody else, and like that was the game. Even though that wasn't really the game, but that's like when there's a sandbox experience that's like fun enough that's all that's all you need.
definitely.
That's how I drive around in real life.
Yeah,
Drive
just
around
like
crazy until the cops come.
There we go.
And then I hand him the controller and I say, "I'm sorry, officer. Let me go, please." Ethan, you mentioned that you weren't at a. Yes, it's different in St. Louis for sure. Hey, I heard you say earlier that you weren't at Atari when it got greenlit. What's kind of your history getting into Atari? Where were you at before? What kind of game stuff were you working on prior?
Yeah, I was trying to find a link to this to us so I can put it on my Twitter. I had a weird path getting to games. Before this, I had started a small indie game publisher called MWM Interactive, and we were inside a larger sort of media company here in Los Angeles, and I was really sort of pushing for like more artistic and narrative focused games. That was kind of more, the narrative component of it was more kind of a part of that company, but yeah, I kind of looked at like what was going on in the games marketplace, and just was really inspired by, for lack of a better term, indie games were doing to innovate on different genres and create new genres, and like I just thought it was really awesome and wanted to be part of that. So before that, I spent actually a large portion of my career working in the film industry. I kind of felt like I always tell people like I was like trapped there, and I always wanted to work in games. I got out of school and like I studied fine art in school, and wanted to immediately go work in the video games industry. And I got lucky enough to get into a small company working in games early on, but then the stock market crashed and everything fell apart in the world, and I had to go find a job somewhere and ended up working in film. Somehow I magically got myself back here, the place I always wanted to be. I did a lot of like interactive stuff for like VR and AR tech for a while, built stuff for like the HoloLens and Magic Leap and VR headsets early on, and that kind of helped me bridge what I was doing in film back to the games industry, and that's ultimately what I want to do and where I want to be. So that's how I got here to Atari.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I ran into Wade Rosen at an event, who's our new CEO, and kind of told him what I was trying to do and I was passionate about, and he was talking about what he wanted Atari to be, and what he wanted to bring in a lot of new games, and the games like Mr. Run and Jump that new IPs, experiences that were like pick up and play, fun to play, like with the deep challenge to them, and we talked a lot about artistic capability of games, and that led to him asking me to join the team.
Yeah, the timings was great, just because we'd been doing a lot of mobile stuff and even mobile stuff with Atari, but my background history was more in the console side. So getting back to this type of product is really fulfilling and has been amazing, and we appreciate the support through and through.
Yeah, we're huge fans of you guys, obviously. Actually, the first new Atari game I played when I joined the company was Common-Era. And I think it came out like the week right before I joined the company.
Okay. Yeah, it would have been April of last year, I think.
And I played a bunch of it. I think I still have it on I think I still have the launcher on my desktop here. Yeah, I have it right here in the corner.
It's a good one.
It's a great one. Yeah. Big fan.
I am. These runs are not coming together for me.
Ethan, are you? You say you're a platforming fan. Do you ever get into speedrunning? You ever try going really fast in a game like Celeste or anything?
Yes. I tend to be, and then with this game, I'm like stubborn, where it's like I only play it fast, so I'll just run and long jump constantly, and I'll just die, and like I can't slow down. I have to do that like constantly. I've never been really good at it. I'm very interested in that stuff, so I watch a lot of Kaizo Mario and speed. I love games done quick, so watching people totally break games, or reverse boss order Ori and Blind Forest or Metroid,
Sure.
Super Metroid. People reverse boss order that game. It's crazy. I actually think for someone working in games, it's such a fascinating way to. It's a culture of people who just love a game so much they literally take the game beyond its intended capability and break it. It's so incredibly over optimized. It's just awesome to see people do that. So yeah, I love it more as a voyeur than I do a actually runner myself. I don't think I have the button skill anymore to do it myself.
Well, judging by my performance on this stream, I don't think I have the skill either, but I'm giving it a try.
No, pass me the sticks, man. Come on.
They're almost there.
Yeah, we every week we kind of try to speed run the first level and just see how good we can get before the game launches.
I know it's here last week. I was in here last week, giving you a hard time.
Yeah, it was
Raithel's hovering around 58 seconds, and then I get on stream last week and I'm boom, 57 or something. And then after that stream, an hour later, Brendan Chapman, who was lead programming on Run and Jump, just posted a screenshot, and he's it was 56 or 55 or something. And he's just eat it, fuckers. And it's oh my god,
There is a lower score. We haven't publicized it yet, but nobody's there's one score for 1-1 one of our QA testers reached, and it's pretty brutal. So
do you have Red World here, or one of the later level ones?
We've got all of them. I haven't unlocked them, and we haven't been showing them. We've been keeping it to Violet for the streams.
Fair enough. Until
upcoming opportunities reveal more of the game, which is really something that we've been talking about. Yeah. Is there anything from Atari side coming up that is I guess there's not really asking for any kind of reveals, but is there anything that we haven't really talked about coming up that's worth chatting about?
We are making a Centipede movie. It hasn't been announced yet, and no one knows about it, but it's coming out this summer. The Rock is starring in it. It's going to be a massive success. It's like Rampage, but Centipede.
I think I saw him tweeting about that actually. Just it didn't.
Oh,
get,
really?
It didn't get shared very much. I don't know, but
I thought
Yeah. The twist is though The Rock plays the centipede.
that's right.
There you
Would it be
go.
great if the movie was just him playing an arcade cabinet for 2.5 hours?
The
It
Rocket.
was like just shot from across the room, so you couldn't really see what he was doing.
In a
No, I
fight-
mean, what do we?
in a
we
fight
don't have
between
much
the.
going on.
No, sorry. Go ahead. My joke was dumb.
Well, right now, the only announced game right now besides this is Pixel Ripped came out yesterday, and then Days of Doom. We've announced that, but we haven't said when.
Well, I don't know if you talked much about it, but like we're really excited. The demo for this game is. We talked about the demo for this game.
We have not. That's kind of what I was hinting at. If that's something
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're going to talk
So the
about.
demo for this game is actually up on Steam right now, and will be part of Next Fest next week. So that's going to be a big thing for us next week on Steam. People will have the ability, and people actually can go. It's live right now.
Right.
People can go up on Steam and go get that demo and play the game themselves. And then if anyone happens to be in São Paulo, Brazil, the week of the 28th, the game is also going to be down at the Brazil Independent Game Conference, BIG,
Yeah.
which is super fun and exciting. And we'll have the trailer playing as part of their showcase down there.
Great.
And so we got a lot of friends down the Brazil way, including the team at Arvory who made Pixel Rip that came out yesterday.
Nice.
But or not yesterday. Did it come out yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. What day is it?
I think
Yesterday.
it's
I
Friday.
was saying yesterday.
But
Came out
there's a lot
yesterday.
of upcoming opportunities to check out Run and Jump in person, and we may even have other ones coming up, even further in the future. So,
Great. Yeah, that's kind of what I was teasing at. Is the Next Fest coming up is with the demo. You guys have been watching me struggle against this time, but I'm hoping that people will get into the game, check it out, and start posting their times, because we designed this one expecting that people would want to whip through it pretty quick. Some of those games like Meat Boy and others that inspired us, really lend to that type of player. So that would be like dream come true for me next week, is to see fans start posting times that drop this level below 50. Like that would, videos especially, because once I see these videos, like I start realizing that like, okay, I'm doing this one all wrong. So skill aside, it's like, oh, if I take this wall up this way, I'm going to save, a second here, a second there. And then all of a sudden you start seeing 45-second times on this level when I've been struggling against a 55,
Do you think there's a floor? Like, do you think anybody's ever going to be able to do this in like 40 seconds?
Man,
40 seconds, man.
Are you guys familiar with TazBot?
I don't,
John, are you familiar with TazBot?
Oh yeah.
So Taz, or Tool Assisted Speedrun,
oh sure, yeah.
is a way to sort of go through and ultimately optimize down to the pixel input,
Right.
or not pixel, frame
Sure.
input. So we can get in here with some TazBotting and see what we could get. What's the floor we could actually? What's actually technically possible?
Sure.
Those are always so cool, like the TazBot stuff, like just the inhuman ways that people can get games to do wild stuff, like talking about crazy speed runs. Like those are it for me. Those are always so neat.
Those are the crazy. Yeah, they have like ways of like doing like code injection, even in like old games where they can like break the game and then live write code into the game to like create other things. Nuts.
It's always
big nerd of that stuff.
It's so wild, all that stuff where it's like, here's Super Mario World, and then they somehow write like Tetris they inject the code for Tetris into the game, and then all of a sudden you're playing Tetris, like, but you're playing Mario World. Like, it's truly insane.
I gotta be honest, when I get to the other end of a level when I'm playing a game like this, and I love games like this, like I'm also a big platforming guy, but I'm like so elated that I beat a hard level. Like that's it. I don't want to see it again. Like it's like if I really like the game, I'll go back and play it like after a couple of years or so, and be like, yeah, right, this game's awesome and it feels new. But the idea, man, going over and over and over again. I guess the last one that did that though was Neon White. I did do a lot of replaying of those levels to get like all the red medals. That I did do.
Yeah, I feel you. I'll do that too. Like, I actually did that in this game because it gives you like the trophy at the end and how well
Right,
you did.
yeah, I'll
If
do
I get
that.
a bronze, I won't go on to the next level. I'll just like, oh, I
You gotta keep going. Oh man.
Yeah, I gotta-
I'll usually do another lap. I don't do it like on the fly. And if you notice, like I'm playing 1-1 over and over and over again. If I'm gonna optimize like a stage-based game or something, I'll usually just focus on one level. Like I've done speedruns of Ninja Gaiden where I'll have to obviously do the whole thing, but this has such a like a lap time type of mentality with just doing this one level that I'll do this one until I get a sub 50 for sure.
Which Ninja Gaiden are you talking about?
First one. Yeah, on
Or
NES.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the classic. Yeah. What's your speed?
12, nah, maybe 1250, 13, something like that. The
that
world
good?
record is like 1139, so I'm like a minute and a half off. Why? What are you laughing at?
No, I'm
terrible
laughing because
time?
it's like, yeah, no, it's funny. I'm laughing at myself because I asked you, is that good? I asked you a question without having any context. You could have threw out any number. I'd be like,
Oh,
cool, man. Like
When
you could
I-
have been like, yeah, 30 minutes. I'm like, wow, that's pretty fast.
when I set that time, it was like in the top 50, and then so many people have filled in that now I think I'm in like the top 300 or something. Just because
I mean, if you were to ask, like, if you finished Ninja Gaiden at all, that's pretty good to me. You know what I mean?
it's
Yeah,
What
you'd
about
be
Ghouls and
I
Ghosts?
played
What's
100
your
hours. I
what's,
finally finished Ninja Gaiden. Like, that's awesome, man. Like,
yeah,
what's your time in Ghouls and Ghosts? That's the real question.
yeah, unattempted, yeah, nothing yet.
he's getting into Bart versus the Space Mutants next.
Oh my
That
god.
game is so frustrating. I swear, it's so like there's a stage. That
Oh,
like,
he's not lying. You literally are.
Oh yeah, I am.
Oh, that's okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
yeah. Don't. Jason's like, oh man, you don't have friends, do you? No, This is a game that
doesn't
when I was a
matter.
kid, it was punishing, painfully punishing, because the controls are very sloppy. Every stage is like some weird, wacky, like. It just feels like they just were like, oh, that's good there. Like, doesn't have a whole lot of planning to it. And I'm trying to correct for my broken childhood by like beating these games that cause me issues. Because now I can use the internet against the game. And I'm like, oh, I can see how to beat this easier. So I'm taking the easy way
Cheating.
out.
So you're cheating. Yeah, you're cheating.
I'm not cheating. It's
Okay.
using
What do you call
resources to my advantage. I'm not like,
Alright.
I'm not Tazbotting it or whatever. I'm playing it, but I'm looking up optimal strategies. How's that?
So what are you saying? There's only one way to cheat?
I'm saying the
Tazbot,
way that
that's
I'm
it?
doing it is not cheating, that's for sure. But the second stage on this game is so silly long, and it's so you're there and you're playing it. You're like, I want this to be over, and the controls they're sloppy. So but I will beat that game this calendar year for sure.
Oh, Ethan's got to go.
It's
Yeah,
time.
sorry guys, I gotta run.
Ethan, thanks for
Thanks
joining
for
us.
stopping by, Ethan.
Bye,
Good
guys.
luck.
See you, man.
And Jason, we're kind of nearing the end of our time anyway, so we always
I
ask
see how it is.
who can. Once Ethan's gone, man, party's over.
Yeah, I got
Who
it.
can we? We want you to be thinking about who we can raid. Do you have anybody that you follow on Twitch or anybody that you are like, oh yeah, this person plays these types of games?
Oh my god, I'm the last person to talk to about that. Yeah, I don't actually.
And you can
watch any
pass
streamers.
if you
Yeah,
want
I'm
to pass. You can.
Well, let me think here. Give me a second.
All right. I'll do one more run while you think.
All right. Let me
Have
check
you
my,
have
let
you
me-
done
let me check my
anything
Twitter.
yet? Like, or have you done any kind of like good time at all?
Oh, I was at a 55 pace. I just bit it on the last round or the last room.
Oh,
Yeah.
So the answer is no. The answer is no. Is the answer to your question?
The answer was yes, man. I've hit a few sub 1 minutes, and I had a solid
Okay.
55 that I messed up.
do I follow? I don't even know. Like the only guys I watch occasionally stream are the kind of funny guys, so I guess those guys. Raithel. I don't know if they're streaming right now. They might be. They were playing Zelda or something.
That's lame.
I'd rather give like the name of somebody who doesn't have a lot of like followers. There's people that, I don't know. I gotta pass that. I got
Cat has a few. In the time I've got left on this run, do you have any socials, any websites, any whatevers for how people can follow you and or anything else that you're working on at Atari? Twitter handles, website names, that such type of stuff.
Oh yeah, best place is Twitter while it exists. Jays of Doom on there, so follow me. I just basically use that to shill all the stuff. But I'll also respond if you want to say something to me, good, bad, you name it. And yeah, keep an eye out for Run and Jump because this game is dope. I'm with Ethan. Like this is like I am a big platforming guy, so this is like I just showed this game to a bunch of elementary school kids yesterday when I was speaking to them on career day, and it like blew their minds. And one of them was like, "What game are you most excited about?" And I was like, "This one. It's awesome." So yeah, check out if you got VR, check out Pixel Rift 1978 because that game's also really great. And yeah, I mentioned it before, but Days of Doom, we announced that, so if you haven't wishlisted that and this, go wishlist this game, go wishlist Run and Jump, go wishlist Days of Doom. That stuff's free and it helps a ton. So please do that. And tell your friends. Give them a call right now. Call up. You know what they need to bring back?
I don't think anybody calls anybody anymore, Jason.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Days.
You know what they got to bring back? They got to bring back chain mess. Right? That was it. Or like like wish list. Send this to your friends. Tell them to wish list. 5 friends.
Chain letter. That's right. Send it to 5
That's
people.
what I'm talking about.
That's the
let's
original.
bring that back.
The original
Let's bring
viral
back
message.
guerrilla marketing. Let's bring back guerrilla marketing. Dress up as a gorilla. Smash through a window and say wish list Run and Jump. Do that.
Smash your window and say, buy a Run and Jump.
I won't be.
You're
Atari will not be held liable for any damages that are caused to you or other people's property.
Fair enough.
Don't literally do it, but maybe do it metaphorically.
I like it. Well, on that note, we've got the person we're headed to. Jason, thanks for joining us, and we're excited for next week, next fest. Play the demo and tweet about it, share about it, and yeah, thanks again, Jason. We appreciate it. See you, man.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Bagoonk.